This is a fictional romantic story created for entertainment purposes only. I was invisible for 8 months, the silent employee no one looked at twice. But then Antonio Serrano, the most dangerous man in Chicago, started noticing the way other men looked at me. And when he finally asked why everyone desired me, my answer changed everything between us. What I didn't know was that being seen by him would be more dangerous than staying invisible ever was. Before we dive into this story, I need your help. We're on a mission to hit 1,000 subscribers, and every single subscription gets us closer to that goal. If you enjoy stories about complicated love, about people who choose each other despite the odds, please hit that subscribe button. And I'd love to know, where are you listening from? Drop a comment and tell me your city or country. Building this community means everything, and knowing where you all are from makes it even more special. Now let me tell you how it all began. I learned early that silence is survival. The Chicago skyline glittered through floor-to-ceiling windows, like 1,000 diamonds scattered across black velvet. Below, the city pulsed with life. While up here, in Antonio Serrano's glass tower, danger wore expensive suits and spoke in whispers. I'd perfected the art of being invisible. 8 months of keeping my head down, filing documents, answering calls. The girl nobody noticed. That was the plan, anyway. The office was all dark mahogany and soft leather, the kind of luxury that whispered rather than shouted. Afternoon sunlight slanted through the windows, painting everything in shades of amber and gold. It would have been beautiful if you didn't know what happened here. I was organizing files when Marco Vitelli appeared at my desk for the 3rd time that morning. Slicked back hair, predatory smile, cologne that couldn't quite mask the scent of violence. Vivien. He leaned against my desk. You look beautiful today. I didn't look up. Thank you, Mr. Vitelli. It's just coffee, sweetheart. What's the harm? I finally met his eyes. I don't drink coffee with colleagues. He studied my face, searching for weakness. Found none. Your loss. This had been happening more lately. Not just Marco. Salvatore from accounting, always finding excuses to visit my desk. Dante from security, offering to walk me to my car. Even Antonio's married lawyer had suggested dinner. I turned them all down the same way. Politely, firmly, without explanation. What they didn't understand was that I wasn't playing hard to get. I wasn't playing at all. Antonio's door opened, and my breath caught. Antonio Serrano commanded attention without trying. 6'4", built like a god carved from bronze and ink. Muscles strained against his tailored suit, tattoos creeping up from his collar like dark vines. His face was all dangerous angles and devastating beauty, the kind of handsome that came with warning labels. Dark eyes swept the office, landing on me for a heartbeat before moving on. That was normal. I was furniture to him. Another piece of equipment that happened to breathe. Vivien, the Castellano contracts. His voice was rough velvet, the kind that gave orders and expected obedience. Right away, Mr. Serrano. I walked to his office, handed him the file. Our fingers didn't touch. They never did. Thank you. He paused, glancing back. Marco was bothering you again. Not a question. It's nothing I can't handle, sir. Something flickered in his eyes. If he makes you uncomfortable, tell me. I'm fine. He studied me, and for the first time, I felt truly seen. You're always fine. I've noticed that about you. The door closed before I could respond. My heart raced. Antonio had noticed something about me. In 8 months, that was the longest personal exchange we'd ever had. The afternoon light shifted, turning the office into a cathedral of shadow and gold. Outside, Chicago sprawled beneath us, oblivious to the empire built on its streets. I was packing up when Dante appeared. Let me walk you to your car, Vivien. It's getting dark. That's not necessary. I insist. His smile held hunger. A woman like you shouldn't walk alone. The elevator doors opened. I stepped inside. Thank you for the compliment. Good night. Dante's hand shot out, holding the doors. Just give me a chance. One dinner. She said good night. Antonio's voice cut like a blade. He appeared behind Dante, filling the hallway with dangerous presence. His jacket was unbuttoned, revealing the shoulder holster he wore like a second skin. Dante's hand dropped immediately. Boss, you were just leaving. Antonio's quiet voice was more threatening than any shout. Weren't you? Yeah, of course. Good night, Mr. Serrano. Antonio stepped into the elevator beside me. The doors closed. Silence stretched, heavy and electric. His cologne wrapped around me, dark and expensive. I could feel the heat radiating from his body, the coiled tension in his muscles. You don't have to protect me, I said quietly. I can handle them. I'm sure you can, but you shouldn't have to. 20 floors of charged silence. Why do you stay? He asked suddenly. I glanced at him. Excuse me? This job. You're smart, educated. You could work anywhere. Why stay here? The elevator reached the parking garage. Fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting harsh shadows that somehow made everything look like a noir film. The pay is good, I said, and I mind my own business. I stepped out, but his voice stopped me. Vivien. I turned. He stood in the doorway, backlit and beautiful and terrifying. They look at you because you're the only real thing in this building full of pretenders, he said quietly. You should know that. The doors closed. I stood alone in the concrete cathedral of the parking garage, heart racing, mind spinning. Antonio Serrano had seen me. Really seen me. I drove through Chicago as dusk painted the sky in shades of purple and gold, the city transforming into something beautiful and dangerous. Lights flickered on in windows, neon signs glowed to life, and somewhere in that urban jungle, Antonio Serrano was thinking about me the way I was thinking about him. For 8 months, I'd been invisible by choice, safe in my silence, protected by my insignificance. But tonight, the most dangerous man I'd ever met had looked at me like I was visible, like I mattered, and I wasn't sure if that terrified me or thrilled me more. Morning light flooded the office like liquid gold, transforming glass and steel into something ethereal. The city stretched below, Lake Michigan glittering like scattered sapphires in the distance. Everything felt different today. I arrived at 7:30, made coffee in the sleek chrome kitchen, settled at my desk. But my hands trembled as I typed, because I knew he was beyond that door, and everything had shifted between us. The morning passed in eerie silence. Marco didn't walk past once. Dante avoided the entire floor. Even Salvatore sent his paperwork via email. Word had spread. Antonio Serrano had intervened. And in this world, that meant everything. At 11, his door opened. Vivien, my office, please. My stomach dropped. In 8 months, he'd never called me in alone. I walked into his domain, closing the door behind me. His office was a study in masculine luxury. Dark wood desk, leather chairs, walls of books he'd actually read. The windows behind him framed Chicago like a painting, all steel and sky and possibility. He stood by those windows, hands in his pockets, perfectly tailored to showcase the body underneath. Even standing still, he radiated power. Sit, he said, not looking at me. I sat in the leather chair, spine straight. The men won't bother you anymore. I've made that clear. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did. He turned, dark eyes locking onto mine. You work for me. That means you're under my protection. I don't need protection. Everyone needs protection, Vivien. He moved to his desk, leaning against it with casual grace. Tell me something. Why don't you ever look at them? Marco, Dante, the others. They offer you everything women usually want. Because they look at me like I'm a prize to be won, a trophy. I kept my voice steady. I'm not interested in being anyone's possession. His eyebrow raised. And if someone looked at you differently? The question hung between us, loaded with meaning. I suppose that would depend on who was looking. The corner of his mouth lifted. You're honest. I like that. Lying takes energy. Like staying invisible? Like staying alive. Something dark flickered across his face. Respect, maybe. Recognition. You're smarter than I gave you credit for. He pushed off the desk, moving closer. Do you know what I realized last night? I shook my head. In 8 months, I've never really looked at you. I saw the assistant, the employee, but I didn't see you. He stopped in front of my chair, close enough that I could see gold flecks in his dark eyes. Now I can't stop. You're my boss. I'm aware. This is inappropriate. Also aware. He crouched down, bringing himself to my eye level. This close, I could see the small scar above his eyebrow, the way his jaw clenched. Tell me to stop, and I will. Tell me this is just in my head, and I'll walk away. Nothing will change. And if I don't tell you to stop, then everything changes. My breath caught. I'm not your trophy either. If this happens, I'm not some prize you won. I know that. And I won't be your secret. His hand reached up, fingers barely touching my cheek. The contact sent electricity through me. Vivien, you couldn't be shameful if you tried. Why would I hide you? Because men like you don't do relationships. You think you know what kind of man I am? I looked at him. Really looked. Past the muscles and tattoos and danger. I think you're tired of playing roles. I think you're lonely in a room full of people. And you're looking at me because I'm the only one who isn't looking back. Vulnerability flashed across his face, raw and beautiful. You see too much, he whispered. You asked me to look. His thumb traced my cheekbone. Have dinner with me. Tonight. That's not a good idea. Probably not. But say yes anyway. Every logical part of my brain screamed no. He was my boss. He was dangerous. This could only end badly, but logic had kept me invisible for too long. One dinner, but I choose the place. Somewhere public, normal. Done. His smile was devastating. Though I'm used to controlling everything, then this will be good practice in letting go. You have no idea what you're starting, Vivian Brooks. I met his eyes, letting him see my strength. Neither do you, Antonio Serrano. The tension was thick enough to cut. His hand on my cheek, thumb stroking gently, and I knew if I didn't leave now, something would happen neither of us was ready for. I should get back to work, I whispered. You should, he agreed, but didn't move. Neither did I. Finally, I stepped back. His hand dropped slowly. Tonight, 7 o'clock, text me the address. I don't have your number. He handed me his phone. I entered my number, sent myself a text. Vivien? He called as I reached the door. I turned. For the record, you were never invisible to me. I was just too stubborn to admit I was looking. I chose a small Italian restaurant in Little Italy, all candlelight and checkered tablecloths. Nothing fancy. Somewhere he couldn't be the king, just a man. He arrived exactly on time, and every head turned. Dark jeans, black Henley showcasing every muscle, tattoos on full display. His hair was slightly messy, making him even more attractive. You look beautiful, he said, sliding into his seat. Outside the window, the street glowed with vintage lamplights and neon signs, the neighborhood alive with laughter and music. Inside, candlelight danced across his face, softening the dangerous edges. We talked about everything: books, travel, dreams. He told me he painted landscapes, that it was the only time his mind quieted. I told him about walking by the lake, losing myself in the rhythm of waves. It was normal and easy and terrifying because I was falling. Halfway through dinner, his phone buzzed. Once, twice, 3 times. "Answer it," I said gently. "I understand." He looked at me like I'd just solved an impossible puzzle. The call was terse, coded, a situation requiring his immediate attention. "I have to go," he said, jaw tight. "I'm sorry. It's not ended. It's just paused." He stood, threw cash on the table, then cupped my face and kissed my forehead gently. "I'll make this up to you." 20 minutes later, my phone rang. "Are you home?" His voice was rough, stressed. "Just got here. Is everything okay?" "The situation's handled, but I couldn't go home without seeing you. I'm outside your building." My heart stopped. "What? Can I come up?" Every warning bell went off. This was crossing a line we couldn't uncross. "5th floor, apartment 5C, I heard myself say. When he knocked, I opened the door to find him filling my doorway. "Hi," I said. "Hi." He stepped inside. I shouldn't be here. Probably not. But I couldn't stay away. We stood in my living room, the city lights from my window painting everything in shades of blue and gold. His eyes traveled over my space, taking in the books, the simple beauty. "This is very you," he said softly. "Honest and beautiful." He moved closer, fingers trailing down my arm. "Tell me to leave, Vivien, because if you don't, I'm going to kiss you." I looked up at this dangerous, beautiful man. "I'm not telling you to leave." His mouth crashed onto mine, and the world exploded. He kissed like he did everything else, intense and consuming. His hands in my hair, on my waist, pulling me against him. I melted into him, finally letting myself feel everything. "You're destroying me," he breathed against my lips. "Good. Maybe we can destroy each other." He lifted me, my legs wrapping around his waist as he carried me to the couch. We collapsed together, desperate and reverent at once. "I've wanted this," he murmured against my neck. "Wanted you. Then show me." He pulled back, eyes searching mine. "Once we cross this line, there's no going back. You'll be mine, and I'll be yours. I've never been more sure." "Then you're mine," he said fiercely. "And I don't share." We stayed on that couch for hours, exploring, discovering, learning. He was gentle and demanding in turns, and I let myself be vulnerable in ways I never had before. Later, as we lay tangled together, city lights painting patterns on the ceiling, he spoke quietly. "They're going to talk. Everyone in the organization. Let them talk. It won't be easy being with me." I turned to face him. "I never asked for easy, Antonio. I asked for real." He kissed my forehead. "You're braver than half my men." "I'm terrified, but sometimes the best things are terrifying." "Like falling in love?" My heart stopped. Is that what this is? I don't know, but it's something close enough that I can't tell the difference. I kissed him, pouring everything into it. We fell asleep wrapped in each other. 2 people who'd been invisible finally seen. Dawn broke through my windows like molten gold, painting everything in shades of rose and amber. Antonio was still there, still holding me, and something in my chest loosened. He hadn't left, hadn't treated this like a transaction. "I can feel you thinking," he murmured, eyes still closed. "How can you tell?" "Your breathing changed." He opened his eyes, smiling softly. What's going through that brilliant mind? Wondering if this is real, if I'll wake up and find it was just a dream. He pulled me closer, kissing me slowly. Does that feel like a dream? No. It feels like coming home. Then believe it. Believe in us. His expression turned serious. You're mine now. And I protect what's mine. I can protect myself. I know. But you don't have to anymore. Not alone. The idea of having someone stand beside me was overwhelming. What happens now? At work? Now, everyone knows you're untouchable. That you matter to me. He stroked my hair gently. But nothing has to change if you don't want it to. You can keep working. Keep your independence. What are you asking? Just to let me love you. However that looks. I kissed him. Soft and full of promise. I can do that. Later, as morning light transformed the city into a canvas of steel and sky, we talked about everything and nothing, learning each other in the golden light. When he finally had to leave, when duty called him back to his empire, something fundamental had shifted. The office that afternoon buzzed with whispers. Everyone noticed Antonio's eyes on me, the way he smiled when I walked past, the possessiveness in his posture. But I didn't care. Let them wonder. He called me into his office, closed the door, pulled me into his arms and kissed me breathless. I couldn't wait until tonight. He murmured against my lips. Your employees will talk. Let them. You're mine, and I'm done hiding it. The afternoon sun streamed through those massive windows, turning his office into a cathedral of light. Chicago sprawled below us, beautiful and brutal, just like the man holding me. Over the following days, our relationship became an open secret. Antonio didn't hide me, didn't treat me like something shameful. Instead, he elevated me. In meetings, he sought my opinion. At company dinners, I sat beside him. When his associates tried to dismiss me, he made it clear I was to be respected. But it wasn't always easy. One evening, as the sun set over Lake Michigan in spectacular shades of purple and gold, we stood in his penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcased the city like a kingdom laid at our feet. There's something you need to understand, he said quietly, staring out at the city. My world is dangerous. People will try to use you to get to me, hurt you to hurt me. I'm not afraid. He turned, cupping my face. You should be. I've made enemies, Vivien. Powerful ones. Then we'll face them together. You don't understand what you're saying. I understand perfectly. I met his dark eyes. I'm choosing you, Antonio. All of you. The good, the bad, the dangerous. I'm choosing us. His kiss was desperate, like he was trying to pour all his fear and love into it. I don't deserve you, he whispered against my lips. Maybe not. But you've got me anyway. That night, as we lay in his bed with the city lights twinkling like stars through the windows, he held me close. I never believed in this, he said quietly. Love, partnership, having someone who sees past the monster to the man underneath. You're not a monster. I've done monstrous things. We all have darkness, Antonio. The difference is whether we let it consume us, or whether we find light to balance it. I traced the tattoos on his chest. You're my balance, and you're mine. Weeks passed. The whispers at work became acceptance. Antonio's men learned to respect me, not because I was his woman, but because I earned it through competence and strength. I didn't change, didn't become someone I wasn't. Antonio didn't ask me to. Instead, we built something new together. A relationship based on mutual respect, fierce attraction, and genuine understanding. One evening, standing in our favorite spot by his windows as the sun painted the sky in impossible colors, he pulled me close. Remember when you said you weren't my trophy? I do. You were right. You're not my trophy. He turned me to face him, eyes intense. You're my partner, my equal, the person who makes me want to be better. Antonio, I love you, Vivien. I'm in love with you. Completely, irrevocably, dangerously in love with you. Tears pricked my eyes. I love you too. I think I have since that elevator, when you first really saw me. He kissed me as the sun set behind us, as the city transformed from day to night, as our future stretched out before us like an unwritten story. What do we do now? I whispered against his lips. Now, his smile was pure joy. Now we live. We love. We build something beautiful in the middle of all this chaos. Together? Always together. And standing there, wrapped in his arms with Chicago glittering below us like a promise, I understood something profound. I'd spent so long being invisible, thinking silence was survival. But true survival wasn't about hiding. It was about being brave enough to be seen, to be vulnerable, to choose love even when it was dangerous. Antonio Serrano, the most powerful man in Chicago, had looked past my silence and seen my strength. And I'd looked past his danger and seen his heart. We weren't perfect. Our love wasn't safe or simple or easy, but it was real. And in a world full of pretenders, real was everything. The whispers continued at work. Let them whisper. Antonio's enemies still lurked in shadows. Let them lurk. Our world was complicated and dangerous and unpredictable, but we faced it together. The silent employee and the Mafia boss. The woman who'd been invisible and the man who'd learned to truly see. We chose each other. Every single day, we chose each other. And that choice, that commitment, that fierce and unshakable love was the most powerful thing either of us had ever known. Outside, the city lights flickered on one by one, millions of stories unfolding in the darkness. This was ours. Messy and beautiful and absolutely worth fighting for. I wasn't invisible anymore, and I never wanted to be again. Because being seen by him, loving him, being loved by him, was better than any safety silence had ever offered. This was my story, our story, and it was only beginning. So that's my story, the silent girl who became visible to the one man who mattered. You know what's funny? Everyone thought my silence was weakness. They saw someone who didn't speak up, who kept to herself, and they assumed I was easy to overlook. But Antonio saw the truth. He understood that silence can be its own kind of power. I want to ask you something, and I really want to know what you think. Do you believe Antonio was right to protect me from his men, even though I said I could handle it myself? Was that him being controlling, or was it him showing respect in the only way he knew how? I've thought about it a lot, and I still don't have a clear answer. And what about me? Do you think I was playing it too safe all those months? Or was I smart to keep my distance until I knew what I was getting into? Would you have said yes to that dinner, knowing who Antonio really was? What his world involved? Here's what I learned through all of this. Sometimes the most dangerous choice is the safest one. I spent 8 months being invisible, thinking I was protecting myself. But I was just slowly disappearing. It took falling for a man like Antonio, someone who operates in the shadows but saw me in the light, to understand that being seen is worth the risk. Love isn't supposed to be safe. It's supposed to be real. And real means messy and complicated and sometimes terrifying. But it also means feeling alive in a way I never did when I was hiding. If you were in Antonio's position, would you have pursued someone who worked for you, knowing it could complicate everything? Or would you have kept your distance to protect them from your world? I think about the choice he made, to be honest about what he wanted instead of pretending I didn't exist, and I wonder if I would have had that same courage. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What would you have done in my shoes? In Antonio's? Do you think we made the right choices? Or are we headed for disaster? Drop a comment and let me know. I read every single one, and your perspectives always make me think about things differently. And if you want to hear more stories like this, about real love and complicated situations, about people who choose each other despite the odds, hit that subscribe button. I share these stories because I believe we all deserve to feel seen, to feel chosen, to feel like we matter to someone. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for seeing me the way Antonio did. It means more than you know.